Hi, I'm personal trainer YUJI.
Today, I want to talk about what should be done daily for the body in their 50s. Basically, I will introduce what I, as a 53 years old person, do every day. I will also add a few other things, but through what I do daily, I really want to convey that these are things that should be done every day if you are in your 50s or older. So, I would like to summarize and discuss these points. There are several items to cover. And first of all, what I'm saying is that stretching every day is essential. Well, it may seem obvious, but I wonder how many of you actually do it every day. I think many people probably don't. But you know, when you do it every day and then skip it for a day or two, you can really feel how stiff you've become. Honestly, just after 2 or 3 days, I realized that if I don't do this, I'm starting to feel my age. So, I have to keep doing it. It becomes so stiff, and if you continue without doing anything about it, it can become so stiff that it won't go back to normal. Honestly, I've seen this in various people's bodies, so I really want to avoid my body getting to that point. That's why I do it every day. Basically, I focus on the shoulders and lower back, and by doing these things, I aim to maintain my condition. At this age, I've accumulated a certain amount of life experience, so naturally, there are habits and misalignments, and what we do is to correct them ourselves. To briefly explain what I do every day, the first thing I always do is this one-legged balance exercise. I open my legs firmly to the sides and stretch my arms out, reaching down to touch my ankle or toes. I extend the arm opposite to the leg I am stretching and lower my body, applying enough weight so that my elbow nearly touches the floor. I do this on both sides. You do it alternately, repeatedly, over and over again. By repeating it not just once but 2, 3, or 4 times, gradually, when you do this, the opposite side becomes softer. Well, there is a reaction in the body like that, so you keep doing it alternately. The reason I do this, as I mentioned earlier, is because there are body habits and misalignments. You might wonder if a trainer like me has any body misalignments, but yes, I do. The reason is that my leg lengths are actually different. This is from when I was a child. I've been aware of this for a while, but my leg length is really longer on this side, in the later stages. Also, the size of my left foot is about 1 centimeter or more larger than the right. Because of this, the pelvis tends to tilt up on this side. As a result, I feel a bit of tightness around the ribs in the upper body. This tightness makes it necessary to stretch this side daily. Additionally, the left hamstring tends to be tighter than the right, so I need to stretch that every day as well. This is about correcting those misalignments. In society, people often go to chiropractors or try various things when they feel discomfort, which is certainly valid. However, those visits are usually only once or twice a week, and it can be difficult to go frequently. On the other hand, doing these stretches myself is something I can do every day, even if it's just for 5 minutes. That's how I maintain my body. Also, I do stretches for my back. To prevent my back from rounding, I make sure to stretch properly. If I leave it alone, I might end up rounding my back due to various computer work. I dislike that, so I focus on stretching. I also stretch my sides and shoulders, particularly around the teres major, by bouncing gently to stretch my shoulders. I always do stretches that feel like they are extending my sides. Additionally, I perform forward bends. In this way, I bend forward, using the weight of my head and upper body to apply pressure, especially on the back of my knees. It is about doing stretches while effectively using gravity. Well, in this regard, it's important to prevent stiffness and to be aware of your own body habits, ensuring that they don't gradually misalign. This is something I always do. I believe everyone has their own unique habits and misalignments, but it's crucial to understand your own and not view them as entirely negative. Instead, it's important to always correct them. So first, please identify your own habits and misalignments. As for what to do for that, it really varies from person to person. So, please first find what works for you and then think about it. Next, I want to mention that I do strength training almost every day. Well, it's not necessarily every day, but almost every day. To be precise, I do it 5 times a week, but since I split my workouts, I don't work on the same areas every time. What I recommend to everyone is to do a split routine, training different areas, which allows for almost daily strength training. It doesn't have to be a split routine, you can also do light workouts frequently. In any case, the idea is to engage in strength training exercises almost every day. It is becoming clear. Well, I really think that this is important in your 50s or even older. I see clients in their 60s and 70s, and when I observe them, those who move frequently definitely have better physical condition than those who do not. Watching these seniors, I believe it is very important to develop such habits from now on. One key aspect is to engage in strength training exercises regularly. It's important to continuously improve, you see. When blood circulation is poor, you might feel stiffness or pain in the morning. However, as people in their 70s say, if you move, it doesn't hurt. So, from now on, by regularly doing strength training, you can maintain good circulation, which is essential for building a basic healthy body. This is what I am currently doing. Additionally, strength training improves hormone secretion, and having good hormone levels every day helps you stay young. Therefore, it's better to have some form of activity almost every day, ideally around 5 to 6 days a week. Even short sessions are beneficial. Moreover, while there is a common perception that strength training makes the body stiff, in reality, those who engage in strength training tend to have more flexibility than those who do not. This is because they are exercising. Those who don't exercise tend to become stiff, so by staying active, you can prevent stiffness and deterioration. Given all this, it's best to engage in strength training frequently, ideally 5 to 6 days a week. Even short workouts are fine. Also, strength training helps to generate body heat. You know, it's about always keeping the body warm, so that every day, as much as possible, the body remains in a warm and hot state. When the body is warm, it really does make it less prone to illness. People whose bodies are cold tend to get sick more easily. Therefore, beyond simply saying that it's better to exercise frequently to build muscle and reduce body fat, I think it's important to consider that as we age, we should engage in physical activity more often. It may seem like a small detail, but I often do exercises like shoulder shrugs and shoulder squeezes. Even if Nishimura-kun doesn't have dumbbells, I still do these quite frequently. Even if I'm standing in the gym and not doing desk work, gravity still affects us, and our bodies tend to lean forward over time. If I don't do anything, I can feel the tension pulling on my clothes. Since I also work on YouTube, I spend several hours a day doing desk work, which makes it easy to fall into this posture. I really don't want my back to remain open like this, so I frequently do shoulder squeezes and shrugs. It's important to avoid getting stiff in this area. You don't need to have dumbbells. Just doing shoulder squeezes or shrugs, or even rotating while squeezing, is beneficial. It's better to do these little shrugs frequently throughout the day. Additionally, I recommend the towel shoulder press. For this exercise, hold a towel at shoulder width apart and perform the shoulder press while keeping your elbows extended as you lift it up to shoulder height. Squeeze the shoulder press tightly like this, really engaging the deltoids and trapezius while stretching the sides. Well, this towel shoulder press can be done while watching TV, so doing it frequently like this can help prevent issues. So, please give it a try. Also, it's important to sit up straight. As I mentioned, I also sit for hours at a time while editing, and that can lead to normal issues. When I sit, I use that gaming chair, but it ends up like this, right? However, sitting like this with my back feels really uncomfortable. I'm gradually getting scared that I might end up with that kind of back. So, when I'm working, I lift myself up to create this natural arch. I can maintain this position for a good 20 minutes, and when I get tired of it, I sometimes lean back a bit and do it like this. Then I can also stay like this for a good while, closing up and lifting myself. First, I have been doing this for a long time. Well, some people find it tough to do this for a full 20 minutes, but to make it easier, I strengthen my abdominal and back muscles with regular strength training. If your muscle strength is high, doing this isn't a big deal. It feels like I'm only using about 0.1% of my full effort, so it's really not that significant. Therefore, I keep this up to avoid my spine becoming misaligned, and I work on it like this. Well, I tend to sit in such a way, and then, basically it's important to do things every day, and getting proper sleep is essential, right? Rather than focusing on sleep itself, I make it a point not to lie down while watching TV in the evening. Well, I don't really lounge around at all, but even in the evening and at night, right up until I go to bed, except when I'm eating, I am usually working on some tasks. To be honest, I do type a bit on Word right up until I go to bed, but even after that, if I go to the bathroom and then lie down, I can fall asleep in a minute. They say that if you use a computer, you might not be able to sleep well, but so far, I'm okay. I'm fine. But one thing is probably that when I'm talking with my family in the living room, my mind gets quite active. However, I still have to do some tasks on Word. While doing it at a slow pace, I lightly engage in the activity while watching the news on TV, not putting in full effort. The key point is not to lie down. When it's time to get up, lying down lowers the heart rate more than sitting does. I think the heart rate might drop from around 80 to 70, but when it drops, I can easily fall asleep right away. So, really, that's how I am. Actually, when it comes to sleeping, I don't really have trouble falling asleep at all, even if it's just for 1 or 2 minutes. However, I do tend to avoid lying down right before bed. In that sense, there are things I do every day, but there are also other things, like what I explained about my eldest daughter. There are definitely things that are beneficial to do. Reducing body fat and building muscle is completely separate from preventing the body from deteriorating and going in a bad direction. I believe that by doing these things, your physical condition will improve even more. Please take this as a reference and give it a try.
Please subscribe the channel and follow my Instagram and X. I hope to see you next time. ありがとうございます。